Good morning, everybody. So, today we are going to do HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, hopefully. Starting with plain HTML. Now, you're all used to this setup over here that you can see, where we have the HTML tags and the head tags. The title doesn't go there, it goes inside the head. So your title will be the little tab in the top of the page, telling you what the web page is about. And then underneath the head, we're going to add some reference to CSS. But before we get there, remember the body tags, which is the whole content of your web page. And in the body, we're used to having paragraphs that we can put content in to separate it from others. But besides that, we're also going to have sections and divs and header and footer. So in the body tag top, we can put in a header, and right at the bottom, we can put in a footer. Then after the header and the footer, after the header, should I say, we're going to have navigations. We can put the nav in the header, a navigation bar, or, well, when they say header and footer, we want that on every single page, a header and a footer on every page, just like with Microsoft Word. The navigation bar can be either in the header or underneath the header. So let's try and put it over here, nav. Let's see what happens if we put it there. A navigation bar, so that's another section that we can talk about. And then we have the main section, which is the main part of your web page. And then inside there you can have paragraphs, etc. And you can also have sections. Yes, there's a lot of extra formatting options in a web page besides just the header and the body. The head and the body. So there's a head, and then there's the body, and inside head, we can, besides the title, we can put in a reference to CSS. So why would we have all these different sections? Well, it helps to format them differently. If you want to make one section a different color or a different font, in other words, the main part must have a different color, and then the section part could have a different color, the paragraph could have a different color or style, the header itself can have a different color or style, and in the nav, you can make that different, and down at the footer, you can have that as a different color and style. This is to help, having all these different sections helps to format them in our CSS code. You might see there's a style.css here. Well, that we are going to add extra code there, and in order for this page here to actually use the code in style.css, there's a file over there called style.css. In order for this page to use it, we need to go and add a reference to it to tell the web page to actually access it. So we need to go and put in a link as such. It's quite a long story, but we just need to type that in. I know there's some autofill here, but just ignore it. So equals, and then text / CSS. This is just the the way we have to do it. And now at last, the link to the actual file itself. And we all know about href, which means you're putting in a hyperlink. This is a link to the file. Now, if there's a folder within a folder, but it's not, so all we have to do is type style.css. There's no folder structure to worry about. So we just have to type file. Why is there no folder structure? And if there was a folder, then you would basically have to do, folder name / that goes inside the quotation mark, double quotation marks, double inverted commas, in other words. So you have to hold the shift key and type that, the two quotation marks. You don't type two single ones, it'll not work. Right, so there's our link. Now, if there was a folder name here and I had style.css inside a folder called folder name, then we have to put that in there and then a /. But we don't have to, because there's style.css is right there in the root file, root folder, in other words. This is a folder here called lesson. There's nothing in here. You can make a new folder if you want, but we don't need to do that. Right, so we've got our link to CSS. Then whatever we put in CSS is going to decide how the header will be formatted, how the nav will be formatted, how the mains page will be formatted, and any section and footer and paragraph, and even H1 and H2. So we would have H1 and H2 as well. So I know I put my navigation inside the header. Let's take nav out of there. And then we will basically have a separate section for the navigation bar. What is a navigation bar? It is basically where you're going to put all your hyperlinks across the page so that you can click on other pages. And we'll see how that works in the next section. So this is basically just to explain the different parts of your web page and how you can neatly put everything in different sections. And of course, we also have in the main section, you can have headers, H1s, H2. Like for instance, you can have a style here called H1 tag, and then that can be formatted in our style.css. And then we can have an H2, a different type of heading, which is pre-formatted heading. And in the next video, I'll show you how that works. So that's just a quick run up to what we're actually going to be doing next.